I recently came across YouTube videos featuring Freemasons who openly refer to the masses as profane. They speak as if simply being outside of their fraternity makes a person spiritually unrefined, ignorant of higher truths, or unworthy of enlightenment. The word itself, profane, comes from the Latin profanum, meaning outside the temple. But these men don't just use the term as a neutral descriptor. They say it with a tone of superiority, as if to distance themselves from the rest of humanity. And yet the assumption behind this distinction is deeply flawed. If spiritual enlightenment is the goal, then it must be something that can be realized, not granted. If breaking free from base emotions, illusions, and self-deception is what makes a man truly refined, then surely such a thing could happen independent of membership in a fraternity. To believe otherwise would mean that no saint, no enlightened thinker, no philosopher who was not a Mason could have ever transcended ignorance. And yet, history tells us otherwise. But even more contradictory to this assumption is the pride with which some Masons speak of themselves as enlightened while labeling others as profane. Pride is the hallmark of ignorance. It blinds the mind and inflates the ego, reinforcing the very limitations that true wisdom seeks to dissolve. If one believes themselves to be above others simply because they have been initiated into a group, then they have misunderstood the very nature of enlightenment. True refinement is not about exclusion, it is about transcendence. This is the great irony. If pride and ignorance are what make a man profane, then who is truly profane? The man who humbly seeks truth, regardless of affiliation, or the one who boasts of his membership in a secret society as if that alone grants him superiority? A truly enlightened man would never need to call others profane, because he would see through the illusion of status, labels, and hierarchy. This is why it is difficult to imagine that figures such as Manly Hall or Albert Pike, two of the most renowned Masonic scholars, would ever have made such a spectacle of themselves. Hall, a lifelong seeker of wisdom, dedicated himself to unveiling hidden knowledge for all who wished to understand, not just the select few within a closed circle. And Albert Pike, even though steeped in esoteric tradition, understood the depth of philosophical inquiry beyond mere allegiance to a fraternity. If these men represented the highest ideals of Masonry, then surely they would have seen such prideful boasting as beneath the very spirit of enlightenment they sought to cultivate. And so, what does this say about those who carry on in their name, yet embody the very arrogance that wisdom is meant to destroy?